No, no.
ਮੈਂ ਕਹਿੰਦਾ ਉਹਨੂੰ ਲਾ ਦਈਏ ਉਹ
Good morning, everyone. We're just waiting for all the participants to join. Then we will be starting with our today's webinar. So kindly have some patience and try to keep your microphones muted also. Hello, good morning, everyone. We are waiting for all the participants to join, so just maintain some patience and try to keep your microphones muted, please. Everybody try to keep your microphones muted. More than 45 participants are here, so we are waiting for all the participants to join. Then we shall be starting with our webinar. So everybody who is joining, kindly keep your microphones muted.
Hello. Hello.
Good morning, everyone. About 50 participants are there, so we shall be starting soon our webinar. So I hereby instruct all the participants once again, to keep your microphones muted and try to maintain the discipline so that we can get the maximum information, maximum innovative information from this webinar. So I request all the participants to keep their microphones muted. If anybody is having the query, if anybody is having any message, you can send the message in the chat box. That will be at the end of the webinar. Until that, keep your microphones and your videos disabled, please.
Hello.
हाँ 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 सर अनम्यूट करियो सर नु
Yeah. Which one, Nina?
Hello, good morning, everyone. I hope my voice is audible to all the participants. Okay. Myself, Engineer Suraj. I'm acting as the head of the department at GCET, Gurdaspur, at Golden College of Engineering and Technology, Gurdaspur. So I welcome all the participants today, including various faculty members, the research scholars, various students, and our key spokesperson for today's webinar. Today's webinar is on the topic of challenges to Indian economy and way forward. So I just a simple instruction from my side to all the participants to keep your microphones and your video disabled so that we can maintain the discipline throughout the webinar. Precisely talking about the Golden Group of Institutions Gurdaspur. Golden Group of Institutions Gurdaspur has been serving the society since 1960. And this serving has been accomplished by providing the quality education not only to the deserving students, but to every needy students who seek to get the quality education. Along with that, Golden Group is comprised of the various sub-institutions, which are Golden College of Engineering and Technology, Gurdaspur, Golden Institute of Management and Technology, Gurdaspur, Golden Polytechnic College, Golden College of Education, Golden Senior Secondary School, and Sri Nangli Academic Public School. Okay, so Golden Group has always justified this statement. जरूरी नहीं कि रोशनी चिरागों से ही हो, जरूरी नहीं कि रोशनी चिरागों से ही हो, शिक्षा से भी घर रोशन किए जा सकते हैं. In other words, education is not the preparation for life, education is the life itself. So Golden Group has always justified these mentioned statements since ever the beginning of its establishment. For today's webinar, I am highly obliged and privileged to welcome our key spokesperson for today's webinar, Professor S.K. Gupta, who is presently working as the Dean Academics in Institute of Management Sciences, Gurha Brahmana, Akhnoor Road, Jammu. Good morning, sir. I welcome you for acting as the spokesperson for today's webinar. Precisely talking about his academic qualification, he has done the PhD in economics from the University of Jammu in 1993. Along with that, he has done his post-graduation in economics from the same university in 1974. He has done his graduation from University of Jammu in 1972. And along with that, he has done various academic research and corporate experience of overall experience he has of 43 years. I'm highly privileged and proudly to say this thing and announce this thing to all the participants that he is having an academic, research, and corporate experience of about 43 years. And he continuously strives to upgrade learning acumen and actively participates in academic and curricular activities. He has publication of about 65 research papers in various referred national and international journals. Along with that, he has delivered extension and invited lectures in various institutions, along with today's institution, which are we are hosting him. So I'm highly privileged to welcome again our key spokespersons for today's webinar. And I welcome him on the behalf of whole Golden Group of institutions for having us and for delivering us. We have although conducted numerous webinars on the various challenges, on the various activities, on the various parameters regarding the COVID-19, but the today's webinar is especially regarding the challenges to Indian economy and way forward. So this is a pretty innovative and enthusiastic webinar through which we can get enormous information about the same. So before we begin, I would like to request Engineer Raghav Mahajan, the Managing Director of Golden Group of Institutions, to present a welcome to our key spokesperson for today's webinar. Can you hear me, sir?
Yes, definitely. Thank you very
Thank you,
much,
sir.
Surajji, for the introduction. Respected principals, scholars, teachers, and all my dear friends, a very good morning to all of you. Today, we are here for the webinar on COVID-19 Indian economy and the way forward. And for that purpose, we have a very well-known personality with us, Professor Shiv Kumar Gupta ji, who's experienced. You have already listened from the Surajji right now. We are highly obliged to have you, Professor, here. And I, Raghav Mahajan, welcome you once again on behalf of whole Golden Group of institutions. I hope all the participants and all the students can gain a lot of experience and education from this webinar today, as Professor S.K. Gupta ji has a lot of experience in the field of academics. So I hope you all will be maintaining discipline, and you all can gain a lot of information from this webinar. Thank you so much, and I welcome you once again on behalf of Golden Group of Institutions.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Raghav sir. So without wasting any time, I would like to humbly request our key spokespersons for today's webinar to kindly start his session. And we shall try our level best to maintain the discipline and curriculum and proper decorum at the back end, sir. Thank you so much, sir. Now you can start your webinar, sir. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Am I audible?
Yes, sir. You are totally audible, sir. Clearly audible.
Thank you. Thank you. Esteemed Managing Director, Principal of the College, faculty members, research scholars, dear students, ladies and gentlemen, a very good morning to all of you. At the very outset, I congratulate the management of Golden Group of Institution, Gurdaspur, for organizing national webinar. I am highly grateful to Engineer Raghu Mahajan, Managing Director of the group, for sparing his valuable time for this academic meet. I am also thankful to Dr. Lakhvinder Pal Singh, Principal, Golden College of Engineering and Technology, for inviting me for the webinar. Topic chosen is really highly relevant during the ongoing pandemic we all are witness to. My regards and best wishes to everyone present in the webinar. So my dear friends, now we'll start the webinar. And before I start discussing the main topic of the today's webinar, that is COVID-19, challenges to Indian economy and way forward, let me share that world has also witnessed several epidemics such as Spanish flu of 1918, outbreak of AIDS and HIV, to mention a few. World is witness that India has successfully dealt with such diseases as smallpox, plague, polio, etc. COVID-19, however, has turned out to be the biggest health crisis in our country after World War II. The outbreak of coronavirus has been an unprecedented shock to the Indian economy. The crisis came at a time when our GDP growth was otherwise slowing down and unemployment was on rise owing to poor performance of our economy. The outbreak of COVID-19 is a grave menace to the entire world, which affected millions of people and resulted in unprecedented effects on the global economy. The virus forced the entire world into lockdown period. Everything virtually came to standstill and triggered a financial meltdown. Almost every country has been affected by the devastating coronavirus disease. So it means coronavirus has put the world economy at a major risk. The world is facing a recession. The World Bank and International Monetary Fund already had warned that the virus will push the world economy into a recession, even worse than the 2008 financial crisis. So much is the gravity of the situation that International Monetary Fund announced that it will be willing to use its war chest funds of US $1 trillion to support the global economy's revival. Let me tell you, this really indicates that the situation is very grave. The pandemic has definitely pushed the global economy into recession, which means that the economy starts shrinking and growth stops. And this is what is exactly happening as on date, so far as world economies are concerned, including India also. International Monetary Fund has further stated that many economies may face negative per capita income growth in 2020. The World Trade Organization indicated a clear fall in world trade between 13 and 32% in 2020. This is perhaps the highest fall since the Great Depression of 1930s. If we compare if we compare Great Depression of 1930s with COVID-19, there seems to be a great similarity, since in both the main problem seems to be number one, loss of jobs and income, number two, causing a huge drop in aggregate demand for all major economies, including our own country. This situation is really in no way comparable to World War II, when there was destruction of production facilities all over the Western Europe. But in case of COVID-19, just like the Great Depression, none of the production units suffered damage, but they were simply locked down. Jobs were lost and people had a sudden loss of their income, causing a major drop of demand. So let me make it clear that COVID-19 is a war-like situation, we can say, but it is not a war. During war, everything destroys, including infrastructure. But that is not the case in totality so far as coronavirus is concerned. The effect of coronavirus has been badly felt and noticed in the world's most developed countries like United States, Britain, and Germany, which all of us seen. Obviously, India too was bound to be affected, not only because of its domestic slowdown, but because of international recession. India's economic recovery prospects have further gone from bad to worse after our nation has emerged as a new global hotspot for coronavirus pandemic, with more than 7 million infected cases, which are still increasing. This has really put India in a very challenging situation, and to recover from it definitely needs bold steps and full public cooperation. all said and done about COVID-19, it is now clear that it has definitely impacted our economy in ways more than one. So COVID-19 has posed many challenges and threats, which is the theme of today's webinar. Let us now discuss and talk about as to what are the different challenges all the sectors of the economy are facing, and as to what government has done and what we can do as an individual. The status of Indian economy, let me reiterate, was already experiencing a slowdown in demand, but now, because of COVID-19, not only demand and supply too has been disrupted and economy is facing lots of challenges. Dear delegates, let us discuss the two pillars of a market, and you must be knowing that is demand and supply. Usually demand in an economy is driven by number one, private final consumption, number two, private investments, and number three, government expenditure. According to Economic Survey 2020, private final consumption contributed to around 60% of India's GDP. But now people are cutting down their consumption only to basic essential needs and health facility, foregoing other discretionary expenses. So that means as on date, no one is in the mood to spend on other things other than the basic necessities and health issues, etc. The private investment too has witnessed a slowdown mainly because of lower credit flow and secondly because of future uncertainty. So there's a lot of uncertainty. So people, they are not interested to make more investments. Government expenditure, however, is expected to provide some relief and may add to GDP growth, and that's very, very important. Now, besides unprecedented collapse in demand, there has also been widespread disruptions in supply chains too, which is the second most important component of the market. Disruption in supply chain has been mainly due to, number one, non-availability of raw materials, number two, exodus of millions of migrants, and number three, slowdown of global trade and shipment and travel restrictions imposed by all affected countries of the world. So, supply chain stands hampered. Disruptions in demand and supply, my dear fellows, directly affected gross domestic product, including formal and informal sectors, which you all know are the backbone of any economy like India. Before proceeding further, let me give you an overview of gross domestic product and its estimated projections by various agencies. So far as gross domestic product is concerned, it is the sum total of the incomes of all factors of production produced in a particular period of time, say 1 year. It is used to determine whether an economy is growing or experiencing a recession. Union Ministry of Statistics and Program Implementation stated that India's GDP stands collapsed by 23.9%. That means by 24% in April-June quarter of financial year 2021. This is the worst ever contraction in the last 4 decades. Means for the last 40 years, there was no such type of contraction so far as India's GDP was concerned. And the main reason for this is only, friends, nothing but COVID-19. What does GDP contraction in quarter 1 of financial year 2021 imply? It implies that the total value of goods and services generated in April, May, June quarter of 2021 is 23.9% less than the total value of goods and services produced in these 3 months in the year 1920. Apart from Union Ministry, different agencies too have projected their ratings for gross domestic product. For example, rating agency CRISIL said that India would see a deeper contraction of 9% during the current year. The Asian Development Bank also announced on September 15, 2020, that India's economy is expected to contract by 9%. This is a report of Asian Development Bank by 9% in 2020, worse than the 4% contraction which the bank had forecasted 3 months earlier. However, Asian Development Bank expects India to bounce back with 8% growth in 2021 as the country begins to emerge from the economic devastation which has been caused by the ongoing COVID-19 pandemic. Dear friends, the International Monetary Fund on 8th of October 2020 projected that Indian economy will contract by 10.3% for this due to COVID-19, but will rebound with 8.8% growth the following year, and definitely we will regain its position as the fastest growing and emerging economy in the world. My dears, so there is a hope that we will bounce back. Very recently, on 9th of October 2020, the World Bank has indicated that India's GDP will contract by 9.6%. In addition, the personal income will also fall by 6% of an individual. So this is the current news from 9th of October to 2020. So it means that our GDP has started contracting, but as per the views of the International Monetary Fund and Asian Development Bank, there is every chance that the economy will bounce back in the coming year, that is 2021. Now, we will move on to challenges different sectors are experiencing following COVID-19 pandemic. Challenges to informal sector. The informal sector accounts for roughly 9% of the total employment in the country and contribute 45% of its output. Before that, I would like to just inform you that so far as the formal sectors are concerned, the worst affected and challenged sectors were: number 1, micro, small and medium enterprises; number 2, real estate sector; number 3, travel and tourism; number 4, aviation; and the last one was automobiles. Now, coming toward the challenges of the informal sector, the informal sector accounts for roughly 90% of the total employment in the country and contribute 45% of the output. This sector consists of contractual workers, daily wagers, migrant workers, and low-income households. As per World Bank report, as high as 40 million internal migrants were impacted by COVID-19. And we have seen in the last few months that how migrants workers were roaming on the roads. They were going back to their houses because of the fear that there's no work in the urban areas and there's a proper lockdown. Out of these 40 million, approximately 23 million went back to their villages. Of course, a good number has come back and they have started their work. Now here the basic question is, when 23 million people went back to their villages, the question arises, can the rural economy absorb this huge number of 23 million? To me, as a student of economics and management, it appears to me a big no. Rural economy is not in a position to absorb such a huge number of millions of people. Why? Because rural economy is already overburdened. Excessively dependent on agriculture. And the third point is widespread hidden unemployment. Those who are the students of economics, they must be knowing that when we talk about agriculture, there is always disguised unemployment. So due to these reasons, the rural economy was not in a position to absorb this much huge number of people. The fact remains that when these workers, they went, there was sowing time in the rural areas. Some people, they got the work, there's no doubt in it. Some Manrega works were going on. They got some days employment. And then after lockdown, some local work has also been started. And these people, they got some type of assignments. But now they are coming back. They have come back rather. The reason being that the rural economy cannot absorb such huge number until and unless we do something very concrete in a planned manner. Coming towards the next sector, and one of the most important sector, that is micro, small and medium enterprises. This is a sector which was experiencing high challenges even before COVID-19 and after COVID-19 also. MSME forms the backbones of Indian economy as it contributes 30% of India's gross domestic product. The basic, that 30% GDP is coming from MSME, whereas when we talk about agriculture, just 16%. MSME implies around 50% of the India's workforce and generating 45% of the India's exports. So these are the basic features on the basis of which we generally say that micro, small and medium enterprises, they are the backbone of our economy. MSMEs is the sector which even, just I have already told you, that even before COVID-19 was already reeling under huge stress. Firstly, because of, number one, demonetization. Number two, poorly implemented GST and prolonged economic slowdown. And to make it worse, now finally, the biggest blow to MSMEs has been COVID-19, which has further aggravated the crisis. Though MSMEs were already suffering from non-availability of credit and high non-performing assets, lockdown resulted in other problems like cash flow, low liquidity, and lack of workforce. So these three things, there was no cash available, no liquidity was available, there was no cash flow, no liquidity, and people, they have migrated back to their villages. There was no workforce available. So these three things, they further gave a lot of challenges. With the result, a good number of, you can say, MSCs, they were forced to close down their units. And for your information, I may inform you that there are around 75 million MSMEs in the country. To save MSMEs from further deterioration, the Government of India announced, number one, 3 lakh collateral-free automatic loans to this sector. I am repeating, 3 lakh crore collateral-free automatic loans to this sector out of Atmanirbhar Bharat Abhiyan, the financial package of rupees 20 lakh crore announced by the Honorable Prime Minister on 14th of May. It was most thoughtful after move that enabled 45 lakh units to restart their work and save jobs. Now, so far as the scheme is concerned, the scheme entails that loans will be for a period of 4 years and principal repayment will start after 12 months of moratorium period. And these loans are available with 100% government guarantee. On August 2020, government has widened the scope of 3 lakh crore M.Sc credit scheme by doubling the upper ceiling of loans outstanding as on 29th of February to 50 crores. So that means the point to understand here is that on 1st of August 2020, government has widened the scope of this scheme by doubling the upper ceiling. Prior to this upper ceiling was 25 crores and the cutoff date was 29th of February 2020. So the cutoff date is again 29th of February 2020, but the upper ceiling has gone to 50 crores and including certain individual loans given to professionals like doctors, lawyers, and chartered accountants for business purposes. So that means the government has expanded the scope of this scheme so that more and more micro, small and medium enterprises can be covered under this scheme. So now maximum loan amount would be rupees 10 crore, which was earlier 5 crores. Validity of the scheme remains October 2020. A point which has to be noted that by the end of this month, the scheme will be closed. And these loans are being given at a rate of interest 9.25%. Now, so far as September 3rd, 2020 figures are concerned, total loans sanctioned by all banks under this scheme, and the name of the scheme is Emergency Credit Line Guarantee Scheme. Emergency Credit Line Guarantee Scheme. The total loan sanctioned by the commercial bank, by all the banks rather, it is 1.61 lakh crore. And out of this amount, total disbursement stands at 1.14 lakh crore up to 3rd of September 2020. Apart from 3 lakh crore package, the micro, small and medium enterprises have also been given some other supports in the shape of, for example, all receivables from the central government and the state entities will be cleared within 45 days so far as MSMEs are concerned. Global tenders will be disallowed up to rupees 2,000 crores for government contracts. E-market linkages will be provided and so on and so forth. All these measures, it is expected and they are showing that relief will be provided, that some cushion is coming to this MSME sector by their revival. Coming towards real estate sector. So far the challenges in this sector are concerned, real estate sector happens to be one of the largest employment sector after agriculture. This sector employs around 52 million people and contribute nearly 7% to GDP of the nation. Like other sectors, coronavirus has very badly affected this sector too. As per a multinational professional services known as KGPM report, India's real estate sector is estimated to suffer a loss of as much as rupee 1 lakh crore by the current financial year, a big loss. Now, how COVID-19 has affected this sector? So far the real sector is concerned, in this sector, dear friends, projects delayed, construction work stopped. Of course, now it has restarted when the workers have come back. Due to demand and supply disruptions, there is no demand for real estate in the market. Why? Because there is uncertainty, and rather I will say that people have deferred their plans to invest in the real estate. Experts, however, feel that there is going to be no change in the prices. Rather, prices of raw materials will increase as these are being imported from China. So, developers have delayed project launches. In order to overcome all these challenges, the government took various steps to revive the real estate sector. Now, regulators need to play a crucial role to revive the sector. Government of India issued the necessary instructions, and few of the relief measures were: number one, under provisions of RERA, Real Estate Regulatory Agency, to automatically extend the completion date or revised and extended completion date for all real estate projects registered under RERA for a period of 6 months, where the completion date expires on or after 25th of March 2020. So a big relief was given. Then the controllers were further authorized by the Government of India that in case the need arises, in case they feel so, they can further extend this period by another 3 months. So in this sector, you can say total a relief of 9 months was given to these real estate sector. Rupees 30,000 crore special liquidity scheme for non-banking financial institutions, for housing financial institutions, and for microfinance institutions was there. Credit guarantee scheme worth rupees 45,000 crore to non-banking financial institutions for housing sector. Then 25% reduction in TDS on rent was also given. All these measures will go a long way in addressing the anxiety among the home buyers and the developers. All these measures will definitely be helpful in reviving the real sector. Coming towards travel and tourism industry, another sector which are experiencing major challenges during this COVID-19 pandemic period. So far as travel and tourism industry is concerned, this sector employs 12.75% of the country's workforce. That means 13% of the country's workforce is employed in this sector. Over 87 million people were employed in the tourism industry in the year 2018 and 19. As per Indian Association of Tour Operators, 38 million jobs associated with tourism have suffered. The industry is expected to suffer a revenue loss of 90,000 crores in 2021. It has also been projected that the economy can lose revenue of rupees 5 trillion in the next year. Friends, the hotel industry is very capital intensive and also has very high fixed costs. So again, you can say, so far as the revival is concerned, of course, the Indian economy has started coming back on the path or on the mainstream, but it will take a lot of time so far as the travel and tourism industry or hospitality industry is concerned. But here I have few, you can say, points to say that so far as the travel and tourism industry is concerned, they can still bounce back. How? By go local, means local tours, local visits can be organized. Focus on local day trips. Then, moreover, agriculture tourism can be developed, which can go a long way in improving this sector. A flexible cancellation and rebooking policy can be adopted. Special focus on guest health and safety parameters. So these are the few points. If these points are taken care of, I'm sure that some relief can come to this sector of the economy.
Sir, your microphone has got muted. Kindly unmute it.
Is it okay?
Yes, sir, perfect.
So, should I repeat the previous one or I should continue?
You should resume your session, sir. You continue.
Okay. So far as hospitality sector is concerned, this sector, I feel, is my personal opinion, that it is on ventilator, gasping for breath. As per one estimate, India's hotel industry is stated to incur a business loss of 90,000 crores during the calendar year, reflecting an erosion of 57% as compared to last year. Now, so far as revenue loss, which is expected in 2020, the details are hotel industry, organized one, semi-organized one, and unorganized one. So far as revenue loss is concerned, 40 crores in the organized sector, 8 crores in the semi-organized sector, and 41 crores in the unorganized sector. So the total comes to 90,000 crores. So far the occupancy is concerned, it is minus 47%. The aviation sector, again too, they are facing lot of challenges. This sector in India currently contributes $72 billion to gross domestic product. The International Air Transport Association, IATA, said that coronavirus pandemic has impacted more than 29 lakh jobs in Indian aviation and dependent industries. Besides these, the aviation industry also lost over 75 to 90 crores daily during the pandemic period. And the government announced intent to improve airspace management across the country, making India as MRO hub. MRO stands for maintenance, repair, and overhauling. Now, so far as automobile industry is concerned, this sector has also been affected a lot, and this sector is facing a lot of challenges. The automobile industry supports employment of more than 3.7 crore people and contributes to 15% of GST, amounting to rupees 1.5 lakh crore every year. This sector was already facing an unprecedented challenge, 18% degrowth rate last year, and it may further decline due to COVID-19, ranging between 22 and 35% in various industry segments. So far, the financial institutions are concerned. Because of slowdown in the economic activities, the financial institutions were facing two major challenges: liquidity and credit crunch. It appears that during lockdown period, banks were not interested to increase their asset size, loan portfolio, and rather their main focus was on management of non-performing assets, or what we call as bad debt. To ensure that there is no additional adverse impact of coronavirus on the financial institutions and to overcome the various challenges, the Reserve Bank of India came forward and introduced some measures to pump more liquidity. This is very important, more liquidity in the banking system through its, number one, long-term repo operations and reduction in its reverse repo rate. Number two, moratorium on term loan installments for 6 months. Number three, a reduced cash reserve ratio by 100 basis, thereby 1.37 lakh crore across the banking system. Special finance of 50,000 crores to NABARD, SIDBI, and National Housing Bank to counter the economic impact of pandemic. And Reserve Bank also relaxed the classification norms for the banks. Normally, the Reserve Bank doesn't relax these norms, but because of this Mahamari, because of this pandemic, the Reserve Bank allowed relaxations in the classification of norms to the banking industry. Now here I would like to inform you, or would like to give you some very recent decisions which has been taken by the RBI in the light of this pandemic period. On September 14, 2020, the Union government decided to infuse 20,000 crore in public sector banks in the current financial year to meet regulatory requirements for meeting expenditures towards recapitalization of public sector banks through the issue of government securities. So that means the government has taken a decision that 20,000 crores will be given to the banks towards recapitalization through the issue of government securities. Another decision, rather I should say very, very important decision, the RBI released guidelines for banks for resolution of COVID-19 related stress assets. New loan recast plan on the recommendations of KB Kamath Committee relief for 26 sectors, including aviation, tourism and auto components, real estate sector, shipping, manufacturing, etc. It may be in place to add here that Reserve Bank of India had a month earlier have also issued the guidelines for loans restructuring also. Now, so far as the new loan recast plan is concerned, the Apex Bank specified 5 financial ratios and sector-specific threshold for resolution of the stress assets. According to RBI, 5 financial metrics that have to be taken into account while deciding on a recast plan includes: number 1, total outstanding liabilities, total debt, current ratio, debt service coverage ratio, average debt service ratio. So all these things, they have to be taken into account while going for new loan recast plan. The banks stated that the resolution plans must be taken into account the pre-COVID-19 operating and financial performance of the borrower and impact of COVID-19 on its operating and financial performance at the time of finalizing the resolution. To assess the cash flows in subsequent years while stipulating appropriate ratios in each case. I do understand that this is a very technical part because so many ratios are involved, but those banking operational people who are dealing with these, you can say, proposals or these new restructuring proposals, they very well understand that how they have to process this type of proposal. But here, friends, it's a big decision taken by RBI to provide support and relief to stress accounts in 26 sectors. Friends, it's a big thing, I should say. The committee also found that 29.4% of the total banking debt was impacted by the pandemic alone, while another 42% was already facing stress before the outbreak. So in totality, 72% of the debt of the banking sector has been impacted by this pandemic. Given the continuing rise in the COVID-19 cases, my dear friends, some borrowers may not be in a position to meet the requirements suggested by the committee, thereby contributing to higher levels of NPAs. Besides these challenges, tax revenues too have shrunk alongside the economy and has become a big challenge. Taxes from goods and services halved in June quarter compared to the same period last year. Also, income tax collections fell down by 36% and corporate taxes came down to 23% lower. As a result, the government borrowings for the year will go up to plug the income expenses gap. All this means India's debt is rising. Another challenge In case of GSTs, that GST revenue collected this August 2020 was 12% lower than the amount of last August, based on expectations of lower activity. Since the economy is slowly and steadily opening, so lower activity must be there. Based on expectations of lower activity during pandemic, we naturally expect tax revenue to further decline for year as a whole. So this is the biggest challenge, that the government's income is coming down. We know now what are the challenges our economy is facing. However, to get the economy moving, the Government of India and Reserve Bank of India announced various measures. A few I discussed with you earlier too, which include policy changes, reforms, relief packages, bank loans, and infrastructure building plans, and so on and so forth. No doubt, all of these steps were necessary and timely, but on the ground, implementation and the help reaching to the needy is more important. So, one should be very much worried about the implementation part to the needy is more important in the time of such an erratic crisis. These measures were urgently required to boost the consumption demand, which has been slumped by the lockdown. Let us try to understand these in view of different sectors like service sector and industry. Now, so far as service sector is concerned, the process of unlocking the economy has begun, and we have entered into fifth unlock period, unlock process. This unlock process across industries suggests that such industries as fast-moving consumer goods would be performing good. Digital demand would be performing above average. However, industries such as hospitality, automobiles, travel and tourism, aviation, and real estate would still find difficult to move back and will require more time. In the service sector, most of the IT companies have been following work from home during the lockdown period, and they are likely to continue. They are likely to follow it in future also. Many of them see this option as a vital alternative, as it has saved major operations and maintenance cost of these companies. So this is the new normal, one of the impact of the COVID-19 pandemic. After service sector, let me talk about industry sector also. The manufacturing units are facing major hurdles and challenges, which include mounting costs and comparatively low or no revenue due to shortage of labor, leading to a reduction in the level of production. Number two, markets are not fully open, so limited sales are there. Number three, make arrangements for laborers or workers to stay at the premise of the factory so that they should be comfortable. This is a case of an established company. MSMEs are likely to face more challenges in operations. The loans guarantee against the NPAs, the investment facilities provided to MSMEs are more or less bank-centric, and they pay little attention to provide the money immediately to MSMEs to restart their business, pay salaries, and also for other operating costs. Now, during pandemic, there were two main reasons that these loans were not reaching. Number one was that the banks were only dealing with essential services. And the second one was that in some of the areas, non-availability of stamp papers was another reason. But now things have started improving with the opening of the economy. Now, all said and done, that we have discussed about the various challenges the Indian economy is facing. We have examined the different sectors of the economy. We have seen that which are the most affected sectors, maybe like MSMEs, like real estate sector, like travel and tourism, hospitality, automobiles, and so on and so forth. Now, there is a lot of lesson which we can learn from this pandemic. What can India gain from COVID-19, or what we can learn from this pandemic? So it is apparent that virus has definitely affected the Indian economy. There's no doubt in it. But at the same time, also has offered many opportunities. And we cannot deny from this. You can see that before this pandemic 19, who was preparing the industry? Who was preparing the mask, sanitizer? Now, different people, good number of industries, they have come up. And most of the people, they are utilizing these opportunities. It is a known fact that a good number of countries are in the process of cutting trade relations with China. So it's a big opportunity for the Indian economy to attract and set a stage for more foreign investments, being one of the emerging economies of the world with the following possible attributes. So to me, it appears that now it's a big chance for India that we can attract the foreign investments, as most of the countries, they are no more interested to keep their relations, rather trade relations with China. And the possible attributes are, number one, the availability of workforce at cheaper rates. There's a lot of provision, there's a lot of scope. So far the labor is concerned, labor is available at cheaper rates. India is the 5th largest economy in the world according to nominal GDP and 3rd in terms of purchasing power parity. Indian products are far more reliable than the Chinese products. They are far more better as compared to Chinese products. India has a cheap digital communication network and has the second highest number of about 57 crore internet population in the world. Another possible attribute is Government of India has launched a number of programs like Skill India, Digital India, Make in India to foster economic growth, which have created a business-friendly environment in the country. So far as our foreign exchange reserves are concerned, our position as on date is much better. Another point is that demographic dividend. We have got young population, skilled population. So that can be another possibility which can be helpful in attracting foreign investments. Strong and diversified industrial and infrastructure base through public-private partnership. And above all, China's loss can be India's gain. So we can gain from the loss of China. The next part of the webinar is way forward. Now we have discussed about the challenges. We have seen that number of challenges are there, and we can convert those challenges into opportunities also. Now it depends upon us that how we deal with such problems. Now, so far as way forward is concerned, to revive from the virus and to move forward, there is a need to adopt certain strategies. We should have a roadmap. A few to mention parameters of a roadmap are, number one, every organization to understand the present external as well as internal environments. So both these environments, they are to be studied by an organization. For this, they should conduct proper analysis of political, social, and technical areas thoroughly. So this is the first point which should be taken care of. Number two, SWOT analysis should be conducted by all organizations in order to correctly identify its strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. Organizations need to redesign their business models, concentrate on core business areas, explore new markets, new sales channels to find out more opportunities to grow. So that means the time has come that the institutions, the companies, the organizations, even I should say, even the individuals, with the citizens of the country also, the time has come that we should redesign our models so that we can overcome from this pandemic and we can have more business opportunities in the days to come. Technology is another vital area where the companies need to focus on. Now, in isolation, you cannot do anything. It's integrated now, that everything has to be integrated. So technology is very important area. And when we talk about technology, artificial intelligence should be adopted to lessen the effects of this calamity. You all know, as I have discussed, one of the serious impact of COVID-19 has been on supply chain. It needs to be established, and hence organization needs to devise the supply chain. Organization also need to ensure that adequate amount of liquidity is always available. In addition, cash flows must also be adequately managed. In case of migrant laborers, the industries has to think for providing better conditions to them. At the moment, industry needs to see for local labor also, and although they may have to pay little more also to the local labor. To sum up the future roadmap, India's growth story at a fast pace is likely to continue because of its strong macroeconomic fundamentals. Everyone agrees that the way forward is too uncertain, and it is not just possible to have a precise roadmap for foreseeable future. Given the unpredictable international situation, every country needs to manage this uncertainty, and India is no exception to this. So, dear friends, I am sure and fully confident that we will overcome from these crises very successfully, and India will emerge as a very strong economy again in the world. After roadmap, what now? Over the past 6 months, business leaders have recognized the importance of supply chains, set up remote operations, and made through financial decisions. We all know that the world anxiously awaits as an effective COVID-19 vaccine that can be readily distributed. But until then, the priority is to re-energize organizations to act rather than react. So we have to perform. We have to come with a solution, not with a problem. Even as the uncertainties of COVID-19 crisis multiply, the goal must be to rebuild for the longer term. So what should be our focus? Because focus is very, very important in all aspects of life, whether it's your personal life, whether it's your office life, or even when we talk about the pandemic, we should have a complete focus. Various estimates, no doubt, are suggesting rise in unemployment and negative gross domestic product. And again, India is no exception. In this context, we have discussed that government has timely came forward with economic and relief packages. Number of relief and packages were announced by the government of India from time to time. And one of the biggest packages, that is Atam Nirbhar Abhiyan, of rupees 20 lakh crore, 10% of the GDP, to transfer income to the poorer segments of the economy was announced. So here I would like to just give you a reference of self-reliant package. When the Prime Minister announced this package, he stated that we need to have domestic capabilities, be vocal about local. He categorically mentioned that we need to develop our skills fully. This does not mean that we are closing our doors. That means that we will not keep any relation with other countries of the world so far the trade activities are concerned. So they have clearly stated that we are not closing our doors, but we are trying to become self-reliant. In the package, they have announced that demand has been projected as one of the important pillars of our economy. Now, companies can tailor their products for the creation of demand in the market. Very important point. That the companies, they should formulate, they should design those products, they should prepare those goods and commodities now for marketing purposes, which can create demand in the market. So the 5 pillars of the economy are: number 1, economy; number 2, infrastructure; number 3, technology; number 4, demographic; and number 5 is demand. So this package is a combination of fiscal measures, liquidity, and monetary measures also, which ultimately aims at to achieve or maintain full employment, to achieve high rate of economic growth, and of course, lower inflation, or to stabilize prices and wages, so on and so forth. However, don't be 100% pessimistic. We need to be more realistic. One must note that these economic measures to keep the demand reasonably high, along with an incentive to MSME sector to carry on investment. Though these are necessary steps in the right directions, one must expect such policies to continue. One cannot expect such policies to continue indefinitely by resources to deficit financing, and hence one needs long-term planning to sustain the growth. Now here I have given you a reference that the government of India has started different, you can say, new projects, Make in India, Digital India, and so on and so forth. Now, so far as Make in India is concerned, I will just like to say, give you again a reference of Make in India, that Make in India is a good initiative by the government, along with other initiatives when we talk Digital India, etc. But manufacturers believe it's easier to import and sell rather than producing it. You know, see what they are feeling. They feel that it's quite easy. बाहर से मंगवा लो और बेच दो, खत्म हो गया काम, rather than producing it. This mindset has to be changed. Very important issue. This mindset has to be changed. And it's important to motivate individuals so that we can start manufacturing in our own country. By doing so, we can have quality checks on the locally produced items, as that is not possible when we are importing goods and commodities from the other countries. So, a new India industrial and trade policy is needed for incentivizing our entrepreneurs to be makers and not just traders. So that means the new India industrial policy, we have to make our entrepreneurs. Not only they are the makers, but we have to make them makers, but not only just they are trading the product. No, they should be the producers. They must build a Make in India hub to meet domestic and global COVID-19 related demand and subsequent rebound. This adversity brought on by COVID-19 can become a transformative economic opportunity to build back and better. So we can build properly, we can back full support, and it can be better than any other product in the world. By introducing innovative long-term concessions schemes, long-term concessions, tax concession schemes, leave money in the hands of the people to go for consumption, to invest heavily on the infrastructure like power, roads, water, etc., possibly in a PP mode and whatnot. Of course, above all, create more jobs and spend more money in the rural areas. Before concluding, let me say the world has managed to recover from earlier bouts of global crisis also. So we should not be depressed that we will not be in a position to recover from this virus. No, there are so many examples before us. Great Depression 1930s, जो 9 साल रहा था, बड़ी गंभीर अवस्था थी उस वक्त भी. But people came out of that crisis also. So there is every expectation that we will come out of these crises like other crises in the past. I am sure we will definitely come out of the present crisis too, though this state of affairs will continue until COVID-19 is brought under control, which too is uncertain because, number one, virus has so far proved clueless. There's no clue till now. And secondly, it is behaving very precariously. We also know that because of rigorous research activities all over the world, some vaccine will soon come into the market. It will definitely take the world economy out of mess created by COVID-19. Friends, winter will change into spring, and that is for certain. It is also for sure that by government backup, economy and trade is bound to return to normalcy. So let us be optimistic and let us learn how to grab opportunity, be an opportunity grabber. Be an opportunity grabber. So that means कि जैसा मौका आए आपने उसको ग्रैब कर लेना है. कोरोना वायरस आया, some people grabbed this opportunity. उन्होंने इस मौके का फायदा उठाया. They started manufacturing mask, sanitizer, etc. And some people अंदर बैठ गए, डर लगता है बाहर नहीं जाना है. Convert every challenge into opportunity. This is a challenge. We can convert this challenge into an opportunity. Adopt Kaizen, Japanese management model. It's a Japanese management model which is known as Kaizen. This model deals with the quality circle and incremental improvement. The Kaizen techniques of Japanese management says that हर दिन कुछ ना कुछ आपने जो कुछ करते हैं आप उसको धीरे धीरे बढ़ाते जाना. Go on increasing what you are doing every day, little, थोड़ा थोड़ा करके. Every day apply Kaizen in your life. And just imagine that if 130 crore people will apply, things will be much more different in our economy. न्यूनतम से शुरू करो, सरलतम का अभ्यास करो. Start with the smallest and practice with the easiest. I am reminded here of a quote from Leo Tolstoy in War and Peace. A battle is won by those who firmly resolve to win it. Before I take your leave, मैं आपको एक कपलेट सुनाना चाहता हूं, तो मेरा मन कर रहा है कि वो आपसे मैं शेयर करता चलूं। वो ऐसा है, दरिया की कसम मौजों की कसम, दरिया की कसम मौजों की कसम, ये ताना बाना बदलेगा, पहले तू खुद को बदल, तभी तो जमाना बदलेगा। थैंक यू वेरी मच, हैव ए नाइस डे, बेस्ट विशेस।
Thank you so much, sir, for enlightening some of the prime factors regarding GDP, economic, and its challenges. As in nowadays, every individual is concerned about the medical parameters of COVID-19 and its
Yes.
prevention measures, but majority of us are unaware of the factors that you have enlightened, sir. Again, on the behalf of whole group of golden group of institutions, I again thank you for showing us the positive side of this pandemic and inspiring our nation for self-relying and rebooting ourselves. And now I would like to request our worthy principal of Golden College of Engineering and Technology, Dr. Lakhvinder Pal Singh ji, to present a vote of thanks to our today's spokesperson and conclude this session. Thank you so much, sir.
Thanks, Suraj. A very good afternoon to one and all present over here. It's my pleasure to deliver vote of thanks on the event webinar on COVID-19, challenges to Indian economy and way forward. Myself, Dr. Lakhvinder Pal Singh, Golden College of Engineering and Technology, Gurdaspur, on the behalf of the management, faculty, staff and students, conveys my heartfelt thanks to today's resource person, Professor S.K. Gupta sir, Dean Academics, Institute of Management Sciences, Jammu. Professor Gupta has wonderfully detailed about the Indian economy, GDP, effects of COVID-19 on it, its present status and future prospects. He has also advised nicely the possible measures and ways to improve it, which is also the need of the hour. Thank you so much, sir, for sparing your valuable time and being with us. I convey my thanks to all the delegates, guests, participants for attending the event. I express my thanks to the worthy management for providing us the permission and facilities to organize this webinar. I'm also thankful to all the organizers and congratulate them for the successful organization and our technical team who have put their maximum efforts to make the event grand success. Along with these few words, I am again thankful to Professor Gupta ji and everyone present over here. Thanks all. Over to Mr. Suraj.
Thank you so much, sir. And thank you so much for today's spokesperson, sir. Sir, we shall hope to conduct more of the webinar sessions with your coordination if you allow us, sir, in nearby future.
You're welcome.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much, sir. Now we are concluding this session by keeping this meeting off by pressing the end button. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for having me. Thank you all the participants.